Hi, everybody, and welcome to Manga Palate, the show where I, Pistacia Luna, here with my co-host.
Manga Chef Isaiah.
Yeah, watch and or read the thing and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, hey, I picked this week. Can you tell them what I picked? This one shouldn't be hard. This is like
Renai
very
Bou-kun.
simple words. Correct. Anyway, yeah, Renai Bou-kun. That's correct. I picked it because the manga ended like 2 years ago, but we haven't talked about it. I remember you saw the show. Did you rewatch the show for this, or did you just go off what
I
you
just read the
remember?
manga.
You just read the manga?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's fine, I guess. The show goes up to chapter 32 of the manga, and there's like 62 chapters, so that's fine.
There's like 57.
No, the way people translated it is they made some of them two parts because they were like, I mean, it's the same idea being carried over literally. It's like a two-part episode, you know?
Okay.
If you counted each of them individually, it's like 62.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the last Takebon came out last year January. So it's been done for a while, and I really like it, so I wanted to talk about it. I guess I'll go over some of the people in the anime since you fucking forgot that they existed. Well, the manga ran from May 9th, 2012 to around December 2018, but the Tankobon, because it's the full collections, didn't finish printing until January of 2019. And the anime is from 2017, and it started on April 7th, and it ran up until June 23rd. So that's cool. People who were on the show are what kind of interested me, because like Seiji, the main guy, is played by Kensho Ono, who was on Idolish 7 and a bunch of idol shit. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that's what you did. That's interesting. And also, he's on Bungo Stray Dogs. It's Ryunosuke Akutagawa. And like I've said before, I'm not going to stop bringing up Bungo Stray Dogs when I can. I watched 2 episodes of it. It was fucking crazy. So I'm going to go back in there at some point. Also, you know Kuroko no Basket? Right? The basketball thing?
There's a lot of basketball things, so I'm not sure.
Kuroko no Basket is the name of it. I know there's a lot of basketball things. That's why I specified. It's the biggest one, sort of. Has like
I probably
4
know
seasons
it.
and movies. Yeah, well, he's the main guy. He's the eponymous character. The Kuroko that the basket belongs to, if you will. Akane Hiyama was played by Manami Numakura. I really like her. We've talked about her before because she's Hibiki on Idolmaster. And we talked about Puchimasu. And she was Saya Endo on Dagashikashi. And also, Retori, one of the many, many people who were interested in Sion in Show by Rock. Now you've seen that, so that reference makes sense.
Yeah.
Guri is voiced by Yoshino Aoyama, who is on Wake Up Girls. And the other thing that we literally talked about like a week ago, she was the zebra on Burinase Shitongakuen.
Alright. There's more references I know.
Yeah, then there's Yuzu Kicho Hasaki, who was voiced by Yuki Nagano, who has done pretty much nothing. There's 2 other things. One of them is that Death March thing, and the other one is a manga that I knew existed because I heard about it through Twitter, but I've never actually seen it. The title is very long, so I'm going to give you the gist of it. I want you to look at me with hate while you show me your panties. That's the name of it.
It sounds like a weird foreign thing.
It's not porn, technically, because you're just seeing a girl's underwear. There's not technically porn. You could jerk off to it, but you could jerk off to like pretty much anything, so that's more on you. Okay. Anywho, Shikimi Shiramine is voiced by Yumi Hara, and I love Yumi Hara. We've talked about Yumi Hara before. She's on Show Me a Temple as the bitch friend Eddie, and she's on Overlord as Albedo, who's like a it's like a big thing because like that show's like that 3 seasons. It has the fucking the crossover thing, Isekai Quartet, and I think the one that I'm the most hype about is she's Takane Shijo from Idolmaster, because I love Idolmaster.
Yeah.
Seiji's younger sister, Aqua, is voiced by Rie Takahashi. Rie Takahashi was Saigiri Ameno on Yoragisa no Yuna-san. She's Smash Kiri Light on Fate Grand Order, and she's Megumin from Konosuba. I like Megumin. I don't like Konosuba. I like Megumin.
I mean, yeah, we talked about it on the other show.
Yeah. These two are interesting to me, along with the younger sister, because the younger sister doesn't really do much. She comes up whenever it's about her relationship with her brother. That's cool, but I'll get into that later. The Demon Lord, remember the guy with the hat and the suit? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's voiced by Takehito Koyasu. Do you remember that name? Come on. We've talked about him so many times.
He was the protagonist on Dog Days? I don't know.
No. Je t'aime.
Oh, he's the bat from Rosario.
Yeah! That's always the one that I go back to. But he was Dio in JoJo no Kimi no Boken, parts 1 and 3. And also Zech, who from fucking Gundam Wing. And last but not least, Tiara, the angel, the sort of like gal angel ends up with a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's voiced by Eri Kitamura. Eri Kitamura has done a lot of fucking shows. Here's some things that she's big for. She's on Fairy Tail as Grey. She's on Boku no Hero Academia, which has just finished up its 4th season as Mina Ashido, the acid weird bug girl. And I think you remember her as self-producer because she did the theme for that show.
Oh, she just did the theme. She wasn't a character.
Well, she was on the show. She was the cousin president with the eye patch. Who, like everyone else on that show, wanted to fuck that guy. She was also on the other show where the title is literally something like "It doesn't matter if I'm your sister as long as I love you." Where she did the song "Taste the Paradise" and played the main character Nao. So yeah, I don't remember the exact title, but it's something to the effect of "I love you. It doesn't matter." It's like "I love you, brother. It doesn't matter that I'm related to you," or something to that effect. So yeah, that's the people who worked on the anime, and the anime covers up to the 32nd chapter of the manga. You read the whole manga, so you know what happened in the anime. Really, there's almost no changes. There was one change that I took notice of. You know how at the beginning Goody goes, "You have to kiss somebody, or you'll die."
And the manga?
Yeah, in the manga, she goes like, if you don't kiss somebody, you'll die.
Yeah, it's like the Death Note. Yeah.
No, it's a kiss note. Shut up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't actually say that.
Shut up, it's not Death Note.
It's
not the Death Note. No, it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's not a Death Note. It is the Kiss Note. So, yeah, you know how she said she'll die?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, the TV show was "You'll be a virgin for the rest of your life," which I don't know if that's better or worse.
I'm pretty sure it's better.
I guess it depends on your perspective, huh?
I mean, let's think about it this way. If you were already a virgin, right, and you die, then you're still going to be a virgin.
Yeah, but you get to see what the afterlife's about, right?
Oh,
because
so
apparently God exists.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Right?
I guess you could
God totally exists.
He's the most chill person. We should probably talk about the show.
Fucking bum. I'm just saying, like, dude, he's so chill. So yeah, I mean, like, it depends. And then if you don't die, right, and you're just a virgin for life, then does that mean you can have like an asexual relationship where you're romantically interested in somebody, but they're never like sexually attracted to you? Because that's still good. That doesn't suck.
I mean, depends.
You get to experience what life's about.
Yeah, I guess I still think it's better than dying, but considering that there's an afterlife, then it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, you're 100% sure there's an afterlife, not like in the real world where either you don't believe it or you don't know. So you don't.
If you go to hell,
either you do believe or you don't know.
Even hell
but hell seems to be businessy.
Yeah.
Hell seems to be like businessy, so it's the real hell that we live in as part of a capitalist society.
Yeah.
So really, it's like going back home. Honestly, not much changes.
But you might get thrown to a deeper part of hell if you mess up.
I mean, yeah.
Once again, maybe. I think we should talk about the show. What it's about.
Oh right, fuck. Anyway, well, we'll get into that shit later. So anyway, there's a guy I know, Seiji, and he's just hanging out. And a Cupid shows up, but she shows up dressed like a Shinigami. She goes, no, shut up, I like cosplay. And he goes, okay, whatever. And she goes, hey, I wrote your name in this book. Is that a death note? No, shut up, it's a kiss note. And he goes, all right, fine. And she goes, right. So if you don't kiss somebody, you die. And he goes, fuck. And then he kisses her. Because he goes, I don't want to die. She goes like, that's not what I meant. Okay, you know what? Let me clarify. When I put the name in this book, right? See, I put one name here and one name here, and I put this X in between. Oh, like a pairing? Yeah, now they're in love. And then she, like, it cuts to the television of the Prime Minister of Japan and some other country. It says president, so it could literally be any country, making out. And he was like, whoa, holy shit, what? And he was like, yeah. So I wrote down your name here by accident, and I need to fill in the other half. So I was just wondering, you know, do you like anybody? What's that about? And he goes, oh, okay. Well, shit. I don't know. And they go to school, and there's a girl he has a crush on, and she ends up writing her name there. And then, yeah, also turns out that girl is fucking pretty nutso. Not all the way nutso, but pretty nutso.
She's yandere.
And, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they say that multiple
is a fair way to put that. Yandere is a fair way to put that. But I would say the distinction is, she is yet to actually kill anyone else.
That's because she can't.
No, she could stab regular people. Like, that's the thing. I'll get into it in a sec. But yeah, and then they just end up in a relationship, and Goody, the Cupid, goes, you know what, I kind of you find you interesting, so I'm just gonna tag my name here. And he goes like, what? It's like, yeah, now we're in a 3-way relationship, sick. He goes, oh god. And then that's kind of where it starts. Mm-hmm. So if you couldn't guess, it's a harem thing, because more people get added as it goes on. It's very short, so there's not like a lot of it. I would say that the one thing that might be a detriment to Renai Bou-kun is that the narrative is thinner than broth.
Yeah, they go
but
over.
I don't give a shit about that. That's not why I like it.
So why do you like it?
So I love it for the people, the characters. So I wanted to talk about Akane real quick since we were already there with Yandere. I'm like, okay, so she's liked him for a while. That's been made clear, right?
Yeah.
She didn't kill anybody. She could have, but she didn't. And that's why I'm like, I don't know. It feels like she started getting really stabby the second she had she was like, okay, I've lost and I cannot accept losing.
So she just stabs people now.
Yeah, but as opposed, and she's getting stab happy now that she's like, knows it won't actually kill them.
Yeah.
I would say because she could have done it before, but she didn't. Because they show in the little montage later on, talking about how Akane sort of developed her feelings towards Seiji without him knowing. It shows the bit where he's talking to a girl at school, and she goes like, I know, son. And then from behind him, Akane just looks pissed. And, of course, he can't tell what's going on. So the girl goes like, oh, haha, bye, forget I said anything. And I would say if Akane was super nutso, she would have killed that girl anyway.
Yeah, so I guess she's
kind of
overly
she's not
jealous.
Yeah, it's because she got it from her mom. Like, her mom raised her that way, and that's the other part of like why I mean like characters is super interesting. So like it's a whole thing. So it's like Yuzu is her half sister, right?
Mm-hmm. Or stepsister.
Yuzu's her half sister. They have the same dad, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Since they're half siblings, they have the same dad but different moms, and the way that they sort of deal with it, or like the way that they were raised by their moms, is to compensate for the fact that their dad disappeared. Although you find out why their dad disappeared later.
It was a dumb reason, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a stupid reason, but yeah. So anyway, dad disappears. So what happens to the moms, right? They get cold and they get upset because they feel that they've been abandoned by the person that they loved enough to be willing to share, which is pretty heavy, huh? That they put themselves so far out there for this guy and then he's just gone.
Mm-hmm. It's still interesting how they all have like, they're okay with like the multiple relationship thing.
Yeah, so the way Akane phrases it the first time she talks about her mom, sort of is, Yuzu and I are sisters, and then our dad left with some woman. Presumably that's what she was told by her mother, right? Suo. Suo is like, yeah, your father left, and I don't know why, because he already had me and Ameisha, so I'm just going to assume it was another woman, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes Suo close off her heart emotionally and become rigid. And she, in an attempt to protect her daughter, forces Akane to like sort of close her heart to people, because she thinks if you open your heart to someone, this is what happens to you. You were abandoned by someone you love, and that makes you vulnerable, and I don't want that to happen to you. So in a really weird roundabout way, she's trying to protect her daughter, but in turn only hurts her worse, right?
Hmm.
So Akane internalizes that, and that becomes because she was raised like that, and that just becomes part of her whole deal as a person. So like she was trained to be really strong, she was trained to be really hard, to close herself emotionally to other people, and that's part of why she ends up liking Seiji is because when she helps him out, he can't see her, so he's not doing it based on anything other than the action she's doing in that moment, and she feels that she's being really seen by someone for the first time instead of being seen the way that she pretends to be at school to make school easy for her.
Yeah, so it's kind of like she didn't really know like how to act, I guess. So she just followed what her
Yeah,
mom said.
she doesn't know how to be a regular person
Hmm.
because that's not how she was raised. She was raised to be strong and to close herself emotionally to other people. But
Yeah.
then when Seiji goes, you know what? Say like, cause she helps out the cat and she, fuck, he can't see her, and he goes like, you're a very nice person, thank you. And he sort of registers a voice like, oh shit, is it that? I think it's her. Hey, is it? She just bounces, and then at school she sees him around, and by then his eyes are fine because he got clawed by that cat for like a second, and he already had a crush on her at the school, so she sees him looking at her, and she's also looking at him, and they're just kind of like this unspoken, slowly developing interest in each other. So that's why when Seiji shows up at the school and goes and everyone's like, "Oh, he's dating this other girl," she just loses it. But even then, the continual stabbing bit, she only really does that when to people that she knows can't be hurt. Because you remember when that guy punched Seiji, right? Like, because of the student council president getting held up.
Yep.
Yeah, like when he does that, when he punches Seiji, Akane does fuck him up, but she doesn't like murder him, despite the fact that she carries Kukri on her literally all the time, and she could have just killed that guy. So aggressive, yeah. I would say, what's the word? Kind of overbearing, right? But not enough to where I would compare it to like Kotonoha and Sekai from fucking school days, where like, yeah, that was straight up murder, and then they're going to take your decapitated head somewhere.
Yeah, she's definitely not like that.
Yeah, she's not like, because that's not the vibe of the show, I guess. Part of her stabbing Goody and shit is mostly because Goody annoys her and Goody can't be hurt, so she does it knowing that Goody can't be hurt, so she's doing it anyway, just because she's like, get the fuck out my face.
Yeah, she's just, I guess, a nice person that was
Well,
treated
yeah,
wrongly.
well, that's why her relationship with Seiji is mostly about her learning to open up herself and like be more comfortable expressing her emotions, as opposed to and fighting everything that she was taught by her mom.
I feel like she was already open when as
I
soon as
mean,
Guri showed up.
it kind of, yeah and no. She was like telegraphing it a lot more, but she wasn't. She already knew that if it came down to her mom saying you're going here, she was gonna fold. That's why Seiji had to show up at her house to tell her to fight for herself. Because she wasn't going to. She was just kind of enjoying it at school and not carrying it going forward. Because remember, the second her mom was like, hey, you're coming home, she was like, okay. And just didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, it took her a second. Yeah, you're right.
There was still a part of her that was like, this is fun for now. But and I'm going to try to keep it hidden from my mom. But if it comes out, then I have to drop it. Like, I can't, because this isn't what's right. I'm getting this, even though I don't, maybe this isn't what's supposed to be for me. But then she fights her mom back, and that's when her mom is like, I've seen you've grown now, and maybe I fucked up, and, it's fine. And that's why when Seiji goes, I don't want to make her sad, and then she goes like, I don't fucking care what you think. Because at that point, she's still upset about her husband leaving her, even though he didn't. But like you said, it's a stupid reason, and you have to come back to it. But yeah, and she and Suol, that's her mom's name, ends up commiserating with Ameisha, that's Yuzu's mom, over the fact that at that point they feel like they've been abandoned by their husband, and it's like you gotta get over it. Like, you gotta be stronger, because that's just can't just sit and wallow in pain. So you have to get your shit together, because look, she's already doing okay. And like, that's really nice. Yuzu's whole thing about coming to understanding feelings is pretty neat. So I don't know, where do you want to go with this? Because I know what my favorite one is, and I know when we'll get to that.
We could talk more about the characters. I think.
I mean, that's what I like about it. The narrative, honestly, it's pretty paper thin.
I guess you should also say they have weird clans.
Oh yeah.
Like the world is
Okay.
kind
So
of,
the world is fucking weird.
it's like anime, like
Yeah,
an
it is
action anime.
very. It's very. It reminds me of that one manga, Kurenai. There's like a secret assassin group, and they have like a compound and all this kind of shit. And then one girl escapes from it, and then the guy's helping her stay away from it, and it's like a whole thing. So yeah, where it's like, so like, Akane's family is the spear, and Yuzu's family is the shield, and like Yuzu has like, I don't know what it is. Is it like telekinesis or something? Is she
I
like makes a
have no
magical shield
idea.
around herself? Right?
It's a magical
It's never
barrier.
explained. It's never explained. I don't know if it's supposed to be
They just
magic
have it.
or if it's like psychic or whatever. But yeah, she's just protected because ghosts exist, right? So if ghosts exist, I don't know. There's a lot of things that could be the explanation for it, but whatever. Anyway, yeah. So it's like, yeah, Yuzu's family is the shield and Akane's family is the sword, and they like, their families go back a long time and are like get jobs. Like Yuzu's family gets jobs as bodyguards, and Akane's family gets jobs as like assassinations and hitmen because they're like, yeah, you have a natural gift for killing and cutting through and things that people can't deal with. And because of the stupid barrier thing, the Kichogasaki family can like pretty much handle anything.
Hmm.
I think the gimmick was they're the only ones who could fight each other. So, so it's like a whole annoying thing. And the
How
one
do you
the
use a
one
shield
guy
to
just
fight
happened
somebody?
to
But whatever.
yeah. Yeah, the one guy just happened to be that one regular old guy just happened to be the one who became romantically involved with the people who were going to be the heads of those families.
Just happened. Yeah.
That's like a whole separate story on its own when you think about it.
There's a lot of those. Like,
Yeah, I like that. I like that there's like probably like a whole thing there that we're just never really going to talk about.
yeah, or like the god and
Yeah, God and
Guri's
Mabudo.
dad. Yeah,
Yeah,
Guri's
Mabudo's the mom.
Guri's
Yeah.
mom.
God, Mabudo's super interesting. I do like how they do the basically your child is exactly like your parent, right?
Hmm.
Because it's like, oh, all of all of Akane's weird like walled stuff is picked up from Suo, and when Suo and like when Seiji goes over to the place to fight for Akane to come back, and she's supposed to like kill him, right? Like Suo throws her the sword and goes like, yeah, kill him. And Akane can't do it. Like she keeps saying, "Fuck off! I don't love you, whatever." And I will kill you. Just leave. And he goes like, "I can't leave." And she's like, "Why?" He goes, "Because you're crying, and that's like I know you don't actually want to." That lines up exactly what happens with Suo when she meets the dad again.
Hmm.
Like Suo punches him, but then immediately throws herself on him, and he goes like, "Aw, you're still a crybaby, huh?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, they're pretty much the same thing." Yuzu always going forward is pretty much how what Amaisha describes as the factor that got her and her husband together. That he says that he told her, "That's what I love about you, that you just keep going and keep pushing and don't doubt yourself." Goody tells Yuzu the same thing whenever Yuzu's like really down about shit. Like Goody goes, you're always doing your best, and there's never a reason that you should stop, because that's the best part about you. And like it's the same kind of thing. I think that's pretty neat because you get to see that reflected in them in their parents later on. Which is why, like, when you said, "Oh yeah, Mabudo and the God," I'm like, yeah, Mabudo's so much like Goody.
Yeah.
When she shows up, and she's just like very free spirited and like kind of goofs around, and like when Goody ends up getting the transforming into the full demon, right?
Hmm.
Like before that, she's not sure why she's so upset seeing Akane get close to Seiji, and then she's reading that manga and it goes like jealousy, and she goes like, "Is that what it is? I don't know." And then it goes like, "Why did Mabudo leave God?" I was like, Mabudo goes, "Well, God loves everyone, and I'll admit, kind of selfish. I don't like it. I kind of wish he loved just me. So I just thought I'd, find my own thing the way he has his own thing, and that's why she made the world and all that other shit."
Mm.
So I think Mabudo, like I said, everyone is interesting. The narrative, not particularly interesting.
I think it's because they just jump over the narrative really quickly.
Yeah, it feels like it's more beats of a character arc than it is beats of a story.
Yeah,
Like
everything's a character arc. Right.
Like everything is more about the person evolving.
And they have like this little thing like, oh, we're going to heaven now. But it's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not
It's just
really
some
about
guy's
that.
room.
Like, Seiji's not breathing. Yeah, it's like Seiji's not breathing. Oh fuck, I think he's dead. And it's like, what? And it's like cut to Seiji going, "Hey man, what's this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, this is my room. Oh, you're in heaven now." Anyway, so can we talk about my daughter real quick? Like, it's more about Goody than it is about anything else.
Yeah, I do like it though.
Cause though, yeah. No, I do love
I
all
don't
the
think there's
fucking
anything
like
else like that.
character beats. That's what I mean by like it's about the characters, and to me that's my favorite kind of story. So like I don't really mind that the story is like pretty much non-existent because it's more about watching everybody sort of develop. And I think my favorite example of that is my favorite character, Shikimi. I think Shikimi is the best character, and she shows the most interesting sort of like parabola of growth, even to the end.
It's a very slow parabola, but yeah.
Oh, it's spread across because she's not there all the time. She doesn't start becoming a consistent member till like after Goody turns into a demon. Like that's it. Like until then, she's not really part of it, and that's like the 33rd chapter out of 62.
Hmm.
But I feel that the time that she does get is all really, really strong. It's all really, really fucking good, and I love it. I even love that the ending is kind of open about whether or not she will join them eventually,
The demons. Yeah.
because it says a lot that like it starts with Shikimi being just a terrible, shitty person, to the end with her going, you know what? I am interested in you guys, like Goody and Seiji primarily, but she goes, but I also know I'm not emotionally mature enough to be part of this relationship yet. So I think I need to grow more as a person before I'd be comfortable coming in. And when they do the fucking, hey everybody, let's line up, let's get together for the for the race, right? Because Seiji's card is the people I love, right?
That seems like it was really thrown in there, but yeah.
Well, like Yuzu and Shikimi both are like me, but primarily it's Goody and Akane. But then they stretch their hands out and they go like, "No, come on, you too, like actually get in here."
Yeah, he likes all of them.
So like, and she looks at Seiji, and Seiji like responds with a smile, like, "Yeah, come on, let's go." Like he didn't say like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He looked at her and was like, "Yeah." And they gave this Yuzu the same thing because it was like all pulling up to the 1-2 page spread of all 5 of them like running and crossing the line.
But he only married the 3.
But like I think that's but again that's because she says
she's not
verbatim, "I'm a baby in love,"
Yeah.
is what she says. Well, when like Tiara goes, "Aren't you kind of sad that you feel that they're leaving you behind?" And she's like, "No, because I like how could I join them yet? I'm still like a baby." Like she says something like, "I'm still a baby when it comes to love," and I'm like, that's actually really cool that she's aware enough of herself to go, "I'm not emotionally mature enough for a relationship." Because you see, like you said, like it's a really long parabola. It's like, yeah, because there's a lot of shit she has to unlearn and fucking get together by, and she's grown the slowest out of all of them, but also the most. So it's gonna take her a lot longer than everyone else. But it doesn't seem like they're saying, "Hey, get the fuck out of here."
Remember when they're doing candidates for the new Hell Lord or whatever, Demon Lord.
Yeah.
And she just like already got the job.
Because it was
bad
like,
person.
"Do you have anybody?" And Mabuto's like, "Yeah, look at this bitch. This bitch is wild."
And she like already got the job.
Pretty much. But what I think is interesting about that is that the way she stops. Like I said, it's Shikimi's overall arc is the most interesting to me because it starts with her being like a fucking horrible heel, right? She comes in, ties up Seiji's just stabbing him for the hell of it because it's like, "Oh, you're not gonna die? Well, let's keep this going. Let's see where this goes." And like Akane has to get him the fuck out, and then Akane sort of like explains Shikimi's whole situation. He's like, "Yeah, she's like an infiltrator assassin. She's like my cousin." And it's like, how our families are a whole thing? Well, that's a whole thing too. And Shikimi's goes on to do that little monologue where she was like, "I like taking things other people have precious to them. That's just like when they hate me and when they're miserable, that's when I'm my happiest." And Goody like shows up because that's when she'd like already been making out with Seiji just to fuck with Goody's feelings. And Shikimi goes like, "Yeah, look, it's me. You know me. We're friends. hey, can I join your little fucking harem thing or whatever? And Goody goes, no, what? She's like, oh, come on, aren't we friends? And she goes, there is no love in your heart. And Shikimi, like, gets really taken aback by that. You're like, bitch, what did you just say? Like, it offends her so deeply, and it resonates a lot with her because it's true at that
Yeah.
point.
She just does things for fun, not seriously.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So then she ends up fucking losing. And then the guy comes in to fucking tie her arms together and blindfold her because, Tsuo and Ameisha just do not trust her at all. And, like, that's a whole big part of why she is the way she is that nobody trusts her, nobody's been nice to her, nobody's given her anything for herself. The only time people pay attention to her is when she's fucking with them. So she decided to fuck with them because that's all she knew how to get attention. It kind of reminds me of Sumiki Mikan, right, from Danganronpa 2, where Sumiki hates the idea of being alone all the time. But whereas Sumiki tries to get attention through sympathy, Shikimi tries to get attention through, like, annoyance. Like, she wants people to pay attention to her, and the only time they paid attention was when she fucked with them. So I guess this is how I do it, right? There's nothing else. Because she learns it when she's, like, fucking 5. She's like a child, right? Like a little kid when that lesson sort of registers with her, and she's just like, all right, I guess this is what I'm about now. Demon Goody pulls that out of her too. When, like, Demon Goody goes like, oh, I get it. You want to be loved. And Shikimi's like, shut the fuck up. You're boring. I hate you. Like, she gets really defensive about it because that's what pervades her entire personality. The reason she's like likes to hurt people and fuck with them is just because that way they have their eyes focused on her, and that's a really harmful way to be, right? And to interact with other people, and it takes a lot of time for her to unlearn that. And even by the end of the manga, she's not fully there yet. But I think it's impressive that by the end of the manga, she's aware enough of herself to know that she's not there yet. And I think it's like, it's a part of it is Goody, the other part of it is Seiji. That's why when he's like remember he turns into a little kid?
Yeah.
See, this is what I mean. Like, that little kid bit doesn't really fucking matter.
One chapter.
The other chapter, he's an adult. He's back to being 15, 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about that is what that moment does for Shikimi, where he gets flowers. So like I was saying, what I think is interesting is that from that point, so like the kid thing doesn't really fucking matter, but what matters for it is what it does for Shikimi, because when he's a kid, he goes and collects those flowers and he gives one to each of them. He goes like, here, this is one for Yuzu, this is one for Akane, and this is one for Shikimi. And it's a very fucking like mundane thing, right? It's just like a little leaf on its own. It has no inherent value, but the emotional value it gives for Shikimi is huge because it's the first time she's gotten something from someone of their own volition. It's the first time someone gave it to her explicitly for her, instead of her having to take it from someone else and not even wanting it to begin with.
Yeah, she gets really upset at the end when she almost loses it.
Yeah, and that's like another like fucking huge spike in her growth as a person, is when like Goody turns into a demon again because of the fucking chocolate thing. Mind you, the fucking the demon who did the chocolate thing only found out about it because Shikimi offhandedly mentioned the other world existed. At that point, the princess and her bodyguard, Coco and Kadira, or Kadria. So like, the princess and her bodyguard are there, and like, so the other world has been established as a thing. Like, a whole bunch of shit has happened. Mostly that was to get Akane and Yuzu's families back together. Which I guess we could talk about that later, because I want to really focus on the Shikimi bit right now. So she has the leaf laminated, the leaf that like child Seiji gave to her. And Goody turns back into a demon, and like after just kind of hanging out, not really doing anything, which is surprising, Shikimi knows that she has to admit that in a way, it's her fault because she mentioned the other world to the demon that gave her the idea to go look for the shit, right? But the entire chapter, she's like hemming and hawing because she's really uncomfortable, because she thinks the moment she admits fault in any way for this thing, she's going to prove what a lot of people have said about her, which is all she can do is make things terrible for people and fuck things up. And she's the most afraid about telling Seiji, because she's like, he's been very fair to me and nice to me this whole time, and said that because of my promise with Goody that it's alright if I want to be around, which is weird for someone who like I've been fucking with the whole time. But I feel that if I tell him now that this This thing is kind of my fault. He's going to hate me, and that's what scares her the most. And then you're right, Demon Goody takes the laminated leaf and then, like, pretends to destroy it. And Shikimi loses his shit. She ends up crying and like, freaking out. And Seiji goes over, like, oh, fuck, was that a big deal to you? I'll give you something else. And she goes, it's not, I don't want a replacement. I want that because and that's, like, she gets a moment where she thinks about it. It's like, oh, that's, because Goody goes like, nah, see, you've spent all your time destroying people's shit. Now you know how it feels. Which is a really harsh way to learn that lesson, but Shikimi does, like, respond to it. Like, it does click with her. And she goes, oh, this is what it feels like. So I guess that mattered a lot to me, didn't it? People matter a lot to me. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't, wow. And then Goody, like, pulls out the fucking leaf, goes like, yeah, I didn't burn it, here you go. But doesn't it make you feel better to understand? And she was like, yeah. And then they go to the stupid festival thing, and fucking Seiji's throwing darts and gets, like, a shitty prize. Mind you, I can't tell if he was serious or if that was him just bullshitting the thing, where, like, he gets the crappy prize because he gets the target to the side, right? Instead of nailing it in the center.
I thought he was doing it on surface.
That's what I mean. Like, was he serious, or was that him just covering up the fact that he's bad at it? Because he usually goes like, that's not, no, you hit the center so you get the big prize. And he goes, yeah, but if we get the big prize, you have to carry it around. So, like, it's better to get the something as opposed to nothing. And then he goes like, oh, this little thing, nobody gives a shit about that. Shikimi, you want this? You know what? I bet you don't want. She just takes it. And it's like, yeah, no, she is starting to, like, feel a lot stronger. That's why when she gives him the smile at the end, after she admits that, you know, she fucked up, and she goes, I bet you hate me now. And he goes, well, no, I don't. You didn't mean to. You didn't, you know, you can't really fucking blame yourself for what other people do. And I know you were trying to do the right thing. So that's, you know, it's fine. And she gives him the really big smile, and he just stops and goes, I love that to the left of it they write like heartbeat, right? Like doki. Like in big fucking sound effect symbols, and he goes, oh, she looked kind of cute there.
After all that time.
And then
so yeah, I guess she devolved a little bit. Yeah, you're right.
She evolved the most. I mean, she didn't mean to do that by accident. She was just talking to someone who she felt was a friend. Remember, she gets along really well with that demon.
Yeah. I mean, I guess she was the worst person, and then she turned out to be an alright person.
She was the fucking horrible person. She starts as, like, the worst possible person, and by the end of it, she comes out like an actual person.
So, yeah, that's...
And I think it's great that they leave it kind of open-ended as to whether or not, like, she could eventually get to the point where the rest of them are, because she had to grow the most to even get to be, like, normal.
Mm-hmm.
The other girls were already, like at a base level, they were fine. They just needed to, like, grow a bit more to be able to, you know, be a fully realized person. Shikimi was at, like, it's like if you're at a negative $100 on your bank account, you need $100 before you can get to zero, and then maybe earn some goddamn money, right? The other girls were sitting on, what, maybe $10, $20, and then now, you know, they have an actual amount. Shikimi was starting from a deficit, and by the end of it, she recognizes that she's not fully there yet, but that she's getting there. And I think that that's a huge amount of growth for a person. To start from, like, fucking miserable, hateful person to then go
to, like, wanting
maybe,
normal things.
Yeah, maybe I can be better. And at the end of it, she is, even if she's not all the way there. But it takes her the most to grow because she started from a way bigger place. She had like all that mindset and all those feelings, like, set up for so long. That's why she even joined the fucking demon to begin with, right? Because she was like, I want to be immortal. And it's like, oh, really? Usually people want money or power or something. And it's like, no, she just wants something that Seiji and Guri have. All they have, all the, you know, the only thing she's got right now is that they're immortal. And she's like, okay, I want that too. I want to be closer to that kind of person. Because, again, the only way I can think of getting people to pay attention to me is by taking the things that they have and making them look at me.
So does she never, like,
actually
like anything? She
No,
just
no.
liked what other people
Well,
liked.
that's she like. It's not that she likes what other people like. It's that she wanted people to pay attention to her, and nobody ever did. And if they did, it was just to fucking shit on her. Remember, when she was at the fucking fancy dress party, all the people were commenting on like, "Oh, look at her. She's probably trying to get close to the heirs so she can like, because she's from a shitty branch family that no one cares about." Like, she didn't really have friends. She didn't have anybody. It clearly shows that her parents were not around, if at all. Because there's memories of Yuzu with her mother. There's memories of Akane with her mother, but Shikimi never mentions her family at all. She only mentions the few times she spent with Akane and Yuzu, and she delighted in that time when like the noblewoman actually paid attention to her, even if all she did like to fuck with them was like take the bracelet, because that's how she describes the feeling. She was like, I seeing their emotions change because of me, seeing them react to me. Yeah, it would hurt when they would hit me, but it also reminded me that I was there, that I did something. It's more about her not being seen by other people and wanting some kind of acknowledgement, no matter how. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of Sumiki, but a more literal translation, I guess, would be a character from a very dark TV show called Moral Oral. The dad's name is Clay, and there's an episode way later that describes his childhood, where his mother babied him a lot because she had a lot of miscarriages, and he was the only baby she actually had. So then she babied him a lot. She was always there with him and like taking care of him over and over again. And like his dad just didn't fucking care, didn't really pay much attention to him because he was like, whatever. He's got his mom. It's fine. Eventually, Clay fucking around gives his mom a heart attack and she dies. And his dad, from that point on, just doesn't speak to him. And at first, Clay is sort of like just kind of pissy and angry about it. And when he starts to do stuff to like make his dad angry, because he's like, "Fuck you," you're not gonna talk to me. Fine, fuck you then. His dad like just fucking wails on him, just punches him, which is like a really, it's not a fucking cool thing to do. But what happens from that is that Clay goes, oh, he actually paid attention to me for once instead of just ignoring me and saying nothing. So he starts acting out purposefully to make his dad angry, to force his dad to hit him and pay attention to him, because he would rather have, attention from a bad place than no attention whatsoever. And at the end, the sad part of Clay's story is that he keeps doing it until his dad just gets sick of it and just goes, "You're not worth it," and like just leaves. And then Clay goes, "I'm not even worth that anymore." And yeah, like I said, it's a really dark show. So where it goes from there, and his relationship with his son is like all kinds of fucked up. And I think that could have been the worst possible road for Shikimi. Fortunately for her, she came around from it. Is that she, she has no attention, and the only attention she gets is bad attention. But that's better than no attention. But then she finds a way, thanks to Goody sort of like pushing her towards it, to get attention from people that doesn't require her to be shitty. Like when Seiji tells her, I felt that my words couldn't get to you and that it was kind of a lost cause because you just weren't going to listen to me. But Goody got to you, and I think that means that it's important for you to be around because you are trying to be a better person, and I think that's good. And like Shikimi responds to that, like at first laughing, and like that's a fucking weird thing for you to say, because all I've done is make you angry and miserable, but you're still very nice to me. So you know what? Yeah, all right, fine. That's yeah, okay. And then she starts. That's where she starts like warming up a lot more. Like the show ends when Goody turns back from demon form the first time, right?
Yeah, when they went to hell and stuff.
Right. So what she says to Shikimi at that moment, because she tells Seiji, "Oh, I finally understand what's been bothering me so much. Is it's not that I'm jealous. It's just that I want you to love me." And she's talking to Seiji. It's like what was really bothering me was that I loved you, but you didn't love me. So please love me from now on, which is an interesting way to phrase that. I like that, because like the introduction thing you say, like in Japanese, yoroshiku, right, which is like please take care of me, which is just a general way of saying like I'm gonna be here. Sorry, or if anything goes wrong, but like I'm gonna try to do my best. So she says a version of that where she's instead of it being please take care of me, it's sort of like please learn to love me. But what she says to Shikimi is, I understand why you are the way you are, and I'm just saying, if you try, people will be able to love you, and I want you to promise me that you'll try. And Shikimi is kind of like, okay, yeah, all right, fine, fuck it, yeah, all right, fine. And that's what like starts her whole evolving as a person. That, like I said, at the end is so impressive that she's able to go, I don't think I'm emotionally mature enough to be in a relationship like they are, but I'm working on it.
She also did say, "Oh, now that you're married, it makes it more interesting." So,
I think that's just the joke because she's fucking with the kid.
yeah, she didn't. She didn't actually like kiss him or anything. So, yeah.
I think she's just fucking with the kid. Yeah. Well, she's kissed him on multiple occasions.
No, I mean after the marriage.
Well, that was one page. Honestly, you don't know what's gonna happen after that. Yeah. It's just kind of there. It ends. That's what I mean. It's open air. There's like a lot of open space for her to eventually come in. Because it as much as like fucking Akane is shitty to Guri, she doesn't actually like, make them do anything. She just kind of puts up with her. Shikimi's the same kind of way. Where she'll like, yeah, it pisses Akane off, but she likes being with Guri. That's what she says when she loses the fucking leaf and then she gets it back. Like when she's walking with Seiji after giving him the smile and Guri, she's holding Guri's hand and says, I think I do kind of like you. And Guri goes like, yeah, I like you too. I hope we learn to like each other more. Like it's very literally like, no, I want you to be around. And that's why I mentioned the fucking, the running together at the end of the thing. Because it could have just been that he ran with one person or that he ran with the other girls and just didn't include Shikimi. But Guri goes out of her way to stretch her hand to Shikiri and go, come with us. And Shikimi looks at Seiji as if to go like, is this, and he goes like, yeah, like let's go. Like also when Seiji has the thing where like remember he has the talk with the princess and she goes, you have to tell the people you love them, and if you don't love them, you don't love them. Like you have to, because you need to make it clear how you feel about them for them to understand you and for you to understand them. And Malvuro comes in and does the pretend thing with Mal, where she goes like, oh no, save me, please. And then he helps Malvuro out, even though he fucking gets hurt. And she goes like, hey, are you I know Seiji? And he goes like, yeah, why? He goes like, I think we're meant to be together. She goes, I don't know about that. And that's when he thinks back to what the princess said. He goes like, and she says, if you don't like someone, tell them. And he goes, I'm sorry. And she goes, do you have a girlfriend? He goes, yeah, I have several. I have some girlfriends. So, no. And then Malboro leaves, and she talks to Mal. He goes like, oh, did you see that? He really fucking did it. Look at him. He's getting his shit together. And when he has that like thought back to like, you have to tell the people you love them. He doesn't just imagine Guri, Akane, and Yuzu. Shikimi's there. Shikimi's part of it. Like it says you have to think about the people that you can't live without. It's Guri, Akane, Shikimi, Yuzu, and Shikimi in that order from right to left. Like that's another thing. It's like she's part of his thoughts. So I think it is just them waiting for her to be comfortable enough with herself to be part of it.
So she still has a chance.
And I think it's kind of cool that that's where it leaves her, instead of it being like, nah, I'm out. It's, I'm not ready yet. Like I'm still emotionally immature. So, cause there's a lot of me that has to grow, but, I'm trying. And and like the other three are already like comfortable with where they are. And so Seiji does the weird 4-way marriage thing. Because if you pay attention, like everyone else is not on that page at that moment. Like everyone else is off to the side or doing their own thing. It's Shikimi throwing flowers on Guri, Seiji, and Yuzu while they're getting married. Like Shikimi's the only other person on that page.
Yeah, but who else could be there? I can't think of anyone else that could be there.
What do you mean? Like literally anyone else could have shown up because it's a wedding. No, I mean that specific page. It's the 5 of them because that's what it's about. It is about the 5 of them, and that's what I mean by like I really like watching their whole character arcs play out. That's the part that really makes me like Renai Bou-kun all that much, especially Shikimi starting from like a horrible, literal villainous person who was ready to make a pact with Satan to, someone who's in the middle of emotionally maturing enough to be part of a romantic relationship. Also, I don't. Also, based on her saying I kind of like you, Guri, I think she's bi too. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. She definitely likes Seiji. And then the way she sort of like blushes and isn't comfortable looking Guri in the face when she says that. Also seems like she's wicked into Guri, so that's cool. I think
So
I think
like
it's cool that that's
people.
where it ends.
Because Yuzu's definitely bi.
Yeah, Yuzu's definitely bi with how hard she is on her half sister and Guri. Yeah. But that's the thing. Yuzu gets introduced that way. Shikimi doesn't. Like, she just shows up as a fucking monster.
Like deceiving people and everything. Maybe Guri's bi too.
I mean, if she takes after her dad, then yeah, because that's her dad's thing. Remember? That's why Malvado left.
Yeah, he loves everything.
He's God. He loves everybody. And I'm not cool with that. I'll admit, kind of selfish. I'm a demon. That's what's up. And it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Guri's whole thing is that she starts loving love and then learning to actually love another person instead of the concept, right? And I think that's really cool too. Especially because when God brings Seiji up to his room to talk, he goes like, hey, you teach that girl how to love. And Seiji goes, I literally have no idea what the fuck you expect me to do. And it's like, you don't have to do anything. Just be you, it turns out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like everybody, even the people who aren't like romantically involved, like his sister's entire thing, starting with her hiding from the fucking rapist penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Like it starts with her waiting for her brother to save her, then it becomes Akane saves her, and then Korari puts in the effort to like give her the strength emotionally to do it herself, and then she does it herself the last time. It was like she just fucks him up herself, and it's her like slowly coming to terms with her brother being romantically involved with someone isn't going to pull her away from her because they're family and they care about each other in a very different way. And so like it even markates it by having the penguin show up every fucking time. Strauss or Stolas as they write it sometimes, but because the way you write that in Japanese, Strauss, I don't know if it's supposed to be Strauss or it's Stolas, but either way
I like the way his eyes always say what he's thinking.
Yeah, with the weird like fucking with the Dalsim's fucking necklace of skulls.
Yeah, I feel like he was just hijinks though. It doesn't really fit the story.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's not about Stolas really as much as this about Aqua coming into her own in her relationship with her brother. So, like, that's kind of it. I think everybody's really cool and really interesting, especially the dad, Akane and Yuzu's dad. Oh yeah, do you want to talk about that now?
Oh yeah. So
the fantasy world, go for it.
So Guri's mom, Mavuro, she wants to make a gift for Yuri, so she wants to like actually do something with Yuri or something. She says she wants to make an RPG world. She doesn't know how to do that, so she gets the husband of Akane's mom and
Suo and Ameisha.
Yeah, because he's good at making stories, and
he wants to write a story for his daughters at the same time. That just also happens to be a thing that he's doing.
Yeah. So he's just like, yeah, we could make a story for all of them. Come to this world they made. And time is different there, so...
That's the best part, is that... So he's there, and he's grown a beard, right? So it's been a few weeks for him.
Mm-hmm.
So probably for him, it's been a month. And he's like, I've been here working hard, but, I'll get it done. I'll go back to my little girls. And then they come in, and they're 16. And he's like, whoa! Hold on a minute. What happened? And Malvado just goes like, yeah, time works differently. Sorry I didn't tell you that.
Yeah, so it's just been 16 years of him just trying to figure out how to make a story. And the moms are, like, furious.
Well, yeah, because they thought he abandoned their family.
He's like, nah, I was just working on a story for my daughter.
No, I was trying to get a book for the girls, Because they were getting bored of their stories, and, like, you guys work, and you guys do so much, and all I could do is be there for the girls, so I wanted to do something, big for them. I did not expect it to be 10 years. Ooh, baby. Ooh, a lot has happened. And then, like, that he meets Seiji, who is basically just him also. Who is attracted to both of these women from fucking big, massive families. Big deal fucking murder and, like, bodyguard families. And it's like, who's that? That's our daughter's boyfriend. It's like, they have a boyfriend. Oh no, oh shit. Is it cool? And then both Ameisha and Sewell stand up for Seiji. Right there, they go like, he's a good guy. He's fine. He's a little slow, but he's a good guy. And then that's when I was like, and that's when Seiji goes like, aw, see, they do love their family. And yeah, and then they have their moment reconnecting with their husband and combining them, putting their family back together, where they go for the date walk, right? He shaved for the walk. I like that. He looks grungy and gross when he first shows up because he's been in a room writing for like a month, and then he gets like dressed up to go for a walk on the town with his wives and his kids.
He also had the full beard going on.
I feel bad for that fucking writer girl, the girl who wrote the play, because in that fantasy world, she's like falls in love with the hero of that world, and then they like split, so there's nothing she could do about it. Meanwhile, his dickhead friends are also making their own way in this fantasy world. Like one of them's like a priest or whatever, and the other guy's like a hunter. I'm just like, man, shit's crazy here, Seiji. It's pretty tight. And like Seiji looks at Mabuto, and then looks at the head of the parents, like, and the class president. He's like, "Hey, do you miss you good?" And she goes, "I miss the guy, the teacher, because she's in love with the teacher." He goes like, "Yeah, we should probably go back, 'cause I don't know how long it's been in the regular world at this point. Time works differently here. This cannot be good. This cannot be good." But yeah, the Dead Superior was entirely about the fucking book.
There's a lot going on in the RPG world. Like, once again, they could have made like a whole 20 more chapters out of that.
Yeah, but the RPG world is just an excuse to get the families back together.
And also to show the two other characters.
The princess and the bodyguard.
Yeah.
I mean, they became their little thing brought back to the beginning of Renai Bou-kun, where Seiji's role is to help Goody get people together. That's kind of what the princess and the bodyguard become more about, which I think is a really neat way to start getting back towards the end of the story, is to call back to the beginning, because so much of shit has happened by that point. You know, gone to hell, met God, fucking nearly got murdered. So much has happened to that point. It's a nice way to start rounding it back to the beginning.
Literally too much. I was like, how's this all gonna tie together? Oh, okay. You're gonna use these two characters. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Gonna go back to the original theme of help people fall in love. Okay, yeah, this works. This works. I remember that when I was reading it, and she like kissed Seiji, I was like, oh god damn it, is this gonna be like a whole other thing? And then it like gets resolved fairly quickly. I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm kind of glad that, like, because I was hoping that it was gonna be the bodyguard crush thing, and it was, and I'm like, that's fine. That's nice. I'm tight with that. Also, I didn't think it would factor into another huge part of Shikimi's growth, you know? Because without that other world thing, Shikimi could have mentioned it to the demon. And then that would have been a part of her being afraid of being hated again.
Yeah, and they have like some secret mana, whatever.
Yeah.
I just like that mini story of how she needs to find somebody she loves. And the person was there the whole time. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I did think when it started, it was going to be like they're just going to go around and find people and make like relationships.
Yeah, because that's how it starts, right? Is like the fucking fourth chapter or whatever. It starts being about the student council president and the teacher.
Yeah, but then it goes on it just drops it really hard.
Yeah, it drops it really hard because that's, like I said before, the idea of a narrative is stupid. The narrative only serves to make the people like develop, which, not gonna lie, it's kind of my favorite kind of story, where it's more about people than it is about, you know, events.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why I love Renai Bou-kun so much.
They don't linger on events.
I kind of wish I could have seen Shikimi's story arc in the anime, but considering the anime had to cut off at a certain point, that's fine. And the manga had been running, hadn't finished yet. If they could have done a second season and just like tied up Shikimi's whole thing, I think that would have been great. But hey, it is what it is, right? And I can still read those chapters back, and they're still really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say. What about you?
I wish the sister had more going on, but not
like
really.
Narrative wise?
Or character development wise, but she doesn't really need to grow.
Who?
Akua.
Aqua? No, because Aqua's whole thing is more about her relationship with her brother.
Yeah.
So that's like really what her whole thing is about.
But she never even tells him.
Well, I don't think she's like. I think the whole thing is her
normal.
conflating yeah, like it's just an actual. I'm worried about whether we're growing apart or not. Because remember, like the whole reason she even got into karate and all that other shit is because of him.
Yeah.
Like he's been there for her the entire time, and now she has to watch him and be afraid that he's going to leave their family because he's got girlfriends now. And then by the end of it, she realizes, nah, we'll always be family. That's like him meeting new people just means there's new people in our family, which I think is like, really sweet. And she's like afraid of him like going away and just never being there for her anymore after she spent so much time with him. And then she goes, no, that's not gonna happen because he'll always be my brother no matter what. So like I think that like it's all about her figuring out how she wants to deal with it. And that's why I said like the way they do it with like the penguin showing up every single time is pretty interesting because the way she deals with the penguin tells you where she's at emotionally with that problem.
Yeah.
Because the first thing is her brother shows up, so it's like, see, he'll still be there for you. The second time is Akane does it, and she goes, maybe Akane being here isn't so bad. The third time, Korari is the one who helps her do it, so then like she realizes, I don't need him to do it for me. I'm strong enough to do it on my own. And then the last time, where she actually does do it on her own fully and entirely, is her going, I am stronger now. Him not being here isn't going to mean anything more than I want it to be because we'll always be connected. Like I like the way it's split up. I guess there could be something else, like a different kind of angle on her story, but considering her entire story is based on her relationship with her brother, I feel it was executed very well.
Yeah, I just thought it was more than that. I thought it was more like, oh, she also like.
Oh, she was also
I guess
romantically
not.
interested in her brother. Yeah, I guess that could be a thing, but this didn't do it.
But for what it is, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, for what it is, I fucking.
I guess some people do like just leave their family though.
Yeah,
like I can imagine that.
No, it's
like, oh, I'm in a relationship.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah, exactly, and that's what she was worried about.
Never again.
And that's what she was worried about. Like they say distance and like you change your priorities as you get older, right? Like when you have kids, your priorities are your kids. When you don't have kids, your priorities like your partner. If you're single, your priority is you. Like it's that kind of shit that just happens as you get older and you have responsibilities. It's the kind of thing that just happens as you get older. Your responsibilities change, and the things that you prioritize reflect that. That's just what that is. And I think it works out pretty well for all that it is, and I think that's really nice. Like I said, I would say that the narrative is thinner than fucking broth, so that sucks. But if that's not a big deal for you, if you're more like me, where it's more about character growth and development and people, then this is fucking fantastic.
Yep.
The anime ends at like the halfway through of the manga, a little bit over half.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested, just watch the show. If you want more, you have to read the manga, honestly. But I think it's great.
The only characters that develop in the anime is Akane and Yuzu, I think.
Akane and Yuzu, because that's kind of Shikimi doesn't start until Guri transforms back into herself. Yeah.
It's a little bit of Shikimi.
So like I think that's the one thing. That's why I said before. I kind of wish there was another season so it could do all of Shikimi stuff. Seiji also needs to come to terms with being in love with them because he doesn't do that until the end of the fucking manga.
I don't know how. It's just like, no way, I want to protect them.
Yeah, I want them in my life for forever, And also it gets to show off the parents coming, reaching closure over their relationship. Like I think it's a whole different kind of story when you consider the second half. The first half is more about Yuzu and Akane and Guri, and then the second half
it's more like
is,
hijinks.
Yeah.
It's more hijinks instead of like actual full
There are more jokes in it, yeah, but like with the whole story in one thing, like the manga, you can really see the beats of where it happens.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the show, I mean, you're limited to the first half, honestly, and a lot of the first half was jokes. Not to say that there's no jokes in the second half. That little fox kid going like, these big delinquent guys join my harem.
I forgot about that.
And then Seiichi goes like, oh, do you not care about that? Do you not care if they're dudes? I mean, you could be bi. I'm not knocking you. I didn't know when you said harem, you also meant dudes. Just wanted to be clear. Like Seiichi trying to be super progressive and go like, oh, you're into dudes? All right, that's cool. all right, that's what's up, little fox dude. We got this. And then the fox dude turns out to be a fox girl, and he goes, "Oh, I misunderstood. I misunderstood that entirely."
I feel like it was this excuse to get them in the hot springs.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it was really
There's a beach episode. There's a hot springs episode. You always got one of
yeah, it
those.
was really random.
It really is kind of unimportant compared to what it's just kind of moving towards. I feel like all the attempts at plot are just to move to the next step of the character. I feel like I've said that before, but it's really how the manga feels.
Yeah, but some of them were like, all right, you have art. No, even that's really thrown in there. Most of it's random.
Yeah. It's more just an excuse to move to the next beat of that person's character arc.
Yeah.
But I don't hate that because character arcs are always the most interesting to me.
Yeah, not a lot of mangas do that.
I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I prefer it when characters are people. So, like, that's all that is.
Yeah, what was I gonna?
Like I said, I'm done. You got anything?
I like the part where God stopped time and said she was like, "Oh, he actually is powerful." That was so nothing.
Cause I mean they are God, right?
Yeah, it was like the first time he
Yeah,
did something.
He is God.
Using his powers.
The first time he. Oh, I love that he's in the fucking hazmat
Yeah,
suit.
because he can't show his face.
He's in the hat. Yeah, he's like, no. I will die, and so will other people. I have to wear this hazmat suit. I love the Demon King being hung up on Mavuto, and that's why he gives so much of a shit about Guri.
Yeah, because it reminds him of
That's
Zom.
cool. Like I said,
He
everyone's
has like
kind
a
of got
fan,
a thing.
has like art of her, and like
Well, no, he's always been in love with her. That's the thing. It kind of reminds me of Snape from fucking from Harry Potter. Yeah, because his thing is he was in love with Harry's mom, and then she like left for Harry's dad, and then like he's like kind of like snarky and like, angry, but he's always tried to do right by Harry because he's like, you're the best parts of the woman I loved. Like I think he says something like that at some point when he's spoilers, when he dies. I think he says something like that. I'm not super big on Harry Potter, but I've heard a lot of things about it, and I think that's one of the most interesting parts. And that's kind of what Mal does with Goody, where he goes like, I see a lot of your mother in you, so that's why I'm like here, because I don't have Mabuto. Yeah, I lost her a long time ago, but I could at least find some of her in you. And then when Goody turns into a demon, she shits on him real hard by going like, I'm not a replacement for my mother. Bye. And he goes like, oh, it's the second time Mabuto's left me. Oh god. Oh, it's so good.
I wonder if he's the demon lord because he's like a weird otaku.
I think she's the demon lord because she could fucking do anything.
No, the guy.
Oh, Mal. Yeah, Mal's the demon lord just because is like, well, Mabuto left. Who's second after that? I guess this guy. That's good enough.
But he's supposed to be like a weird otaku, right?
He hides it the way a good otaku should. People don't need to know about your filth, but except for that one guy who married his house.
Oh,
Braver man than anyone else I know.
I thought you were talking about the Hatsune Miku guy.
Dude, but you tell me about that? That's still in my mind. Like, about how he married his house, and he said if there's other people who would want to, but they won't because they're cowards. And I'm like, damn.
His house?
Damn, man.
Wait, what do you mean his house? I'm pretty sure it was Miku.
I mean, yeah, it's digital Miku box thing, but it's about the smart house.
Really,
that's the only reason it works. If it wasn't a smart house, it wouldn't work.
The 3D projection thing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a little one. It's not like... You can't touch it because it's light, so it's like... Yeah, just the balls on that, man, to go like... men who wouldn't do this are cowards. I'm like, you win, man. I guess I'm a coward. I'm not about to marry a figure. Like, you win. You win.
I guess the words resonated too much.
Wild. Yeah, well, I yeah, too much.
Yep.
Okay, so food time, huh?
Alright, get the obvious out the way.
Okay.
Sweet.
So in terms of narrative, super sweet. Yeah, not...
Do we have a food
really
for
heavy.
character development?
I was going to say no, because what we're going to think about is the fact that the plot isn't heavy, right?
No.
But there's still something there.
It's a very light.
So it's sweet and it's kind of light. So I was thinking something that's not very heavy, but still kind of like, God, what's the word? Still got heft to it, right?
It's like chicken.
Chocolate mousse cake. Tell me what you know about chocolate mousse cake.
Chocolate mousse cake? You don't think it's a meat?
No. You know why? Because the narrative itself is fucking thin, and it's not very filling because it ends on it like an open feeling.
But it still makes you think about it.
Also, I don't know if we could do sweet meat.
I mean, you could just like... There's sweet chicken. There's like honey barbecue chicken.
I don't know if that feels right. I don't know if that feels right. I feel like this is heavier than a lot of things, but not fucking. In terms of like it's the narrative and the development, there's nothing really to talk about. All of it is in the people.
But there's a lot going on to people. That's why I feel like it should be a meat.
So you feel it should be heavier than a cake because of the amount of that's happening to the people. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I guess.
This just depends on your perspective.
Yeah, but that's why I want to make it a cake, because it's really relative to how you read into that kind of stuff, you know? Because I know people who are like, I started reading this and it's so fucking nonsense that I didn't care. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you're expecting the story to be a thing.
Yeah, but
when that's not what it's about.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing it based on. Not like you even said like you thought
I'm
characters.
Thinking about it as like a
important.
general thing. Yeah. I think characters are the most important. Okay, you know what? Fine. Then if we're going to give it a meat, I feel we should give it a pork then, because it's more than chicken, but it's not as much as steak. Because dude, I could talk about just Shikimi's arc for like 40 minutes, and I think I did.
I think you did.
I think I did. So, you know, and I didn't even really get into the Demon Lords thing or Gods thing or like the like I said, all the parents have their own thing. So I think it should have to be a pork if it's going to be sweet. If it's going to be like meat.
Okay. Sweet pork.
Does that feel right with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let's see. I want to, or maybe Bulgogi? What about Bulgogi?
What's that?
Do you know Bulgogi?
No, what's that?
Okay. So, Korean barbecue, right, is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it's separate from like other kinds of barbecue is because of the spices and the ingredients that they use, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what this is. Yeah, I just looked it up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Bulgogi.
This is the stuff I always like. I just call it pork.
It's not though, because a lot of the things are pork. It's a specific taste based on the combination of soy sauce, ginger, brown sugar, the pear. There's a pear that's involved. That's what gives it its flavor. Like it's very sweet compared to other kinds of meat.
Okay.
So what do you think about pork bulgogi?
That seems good, and it's also not too heavy.
Or bulgogi pork, I think would be the correct way to put that.
It's very light too. Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, bulgogi pork. Did it. Nailed it. So it's time for the news. Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. It's time for the news. What have you got for the news, for your news thing today?
Wow, what the fuck was it?
Sick, I love it.
I'm drawing a blank. I definitely had something.
Sick, I love it.
Oh, Kim Jong-un died.
Yes, he did. I didn't realize we were gonna get to like actual world news today. All right, sick. No, I'm excited. Holy boy, oh boy.
Oh wait, yeah, it's too real for Manga.
No, I'm just like, he's not. Okay. I'm gonna say this.
But they weren't sure if he was actually.
You can't say he's dead because nobody knows actually, because North Korea is like fucking block out other people, right? Yesterday there was a CNN article that was like, South Korean news people are saying Kim Jong-un is fucking alive. That's not a problem. He had what was it? A
heart attack.
He had that surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those people were like, oh no, I don't know if he's doing okay. But yeah, according to South Korean news, he's fine. But yeah. Oh man.
So it's like.
Alright, cool. Hey, do you want to talk about Best Korea, or should I talk about Best Korea and how fucking crazy it is?
You could talk about it.
North Korea, or Best Korea, as the joke is often, has maybe one of my favorite names of a place ever, because of the history of this kind of shit. So, fuck. I really didn't think this was where we were gonna go today, but let's do it. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea. And every single time a country has gone out of way to call itself democratic in the title, it has been a war-torn place. Like the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Oh, wait, you're going to actually explain what North Korea is? I didn't think we need to explain it.
No, I'm like, hey, here we go. We're doing this. Hold on. You said I said, are we doing this? You said yeah.
I thought
Like,
everyone
hey,
understood
so
what North Korea is, but okay.
you say that. You say that, but you don't know. Pyongyang, the capital. It's the nicest it's gonna get. It's food storages. It's a bad time. It's a bad time to be in best Korea. There's never a good time to be in best Korea. Yeah, split apart because the Korean War against communism. It's a thing. It's a bad time, and the Kim family is basically dynastic, right? So it's like, hey, if Kim Jong Un dies, it's gonna happen. He has a son, yeah.
They said maybe his
And,
sister.
he was brought up by his dad, Kim Jong Il, but his daughter, but the daughter's not gonna be a thing. So people were like, is it gonna be his sister? What's up with that? And then there's so many pictures of his sister running with bread in her mouth, and they were like, oh, she's late to her first day of being a dictator. And I'm like, this isn't as much as I appreciate the anime memes. Nuclear war. Remember that, you bastards.
Say you have a nuke.
So, yeah, it's not a great time. It's not a great time. Oh boy, world politics is scary, man.
And he might not even be dead. It might just be a decoy.
Yeah, he's probably fine. But at least based on the South Korean news, he's totally fine. But yeah, I mean, can't go good either way, honestly. Because if somebody else gets moved in and he dies, then well, now we have to figure out what this new person is gonna be like.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it gonna go? He has a bunch of siblings. I don't know who it could go to. People making memes about the youngest sister, but could go to Jongchul. It's not necessarily gonna go to Jongchul because Un is the one who's in charge now, but his older half brother's there. Jong-nam got assassinated, so it's totally not him. It's just not good. It's so weird that you wanted to bring up
and
this.
We're not even. I don't know. It's just been on my mind.
It's really.
And also,
that's interesting.
He could have been assassinated.
I mean, yeah, that's also maybe a thing. He went in for surgery, so it clearly wasn't good if it was life-threatening surgery.
Yeah, maybe I'm pretty sure that doctor is probably dead.
Who fucking knows? Best Korea does not like people knowing things. They just don't. Yeah. All right.
That's my
actual world news.
I also thought it'd be funny
to bring up best Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't laugh. Did you laugh?
You weren't expecting it.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
No. No, I'm sad.
Yeah, now you're just thinking about the horrible implications. It's great. All right. Well, fuck. I don't know. I guess I have a fun thing to talk about. Have you heard of a manga called Blue Giant?
No.
Okay. Blue Giant is a manga about this kid who played basketball, saw jazz, and was like, "Fuck this, I'm in now." And now he's playing saxophone.
Alright.
So yeah, it's pretty nuts. About the expression of the self through music, and how music impacts the life. And there was a sequel manga, Blue Giant Supreme, and it's done. So I just thought, if you're interested in a thing about the power of music and human expression and soul, then check out Blue Giant and Blue Giant Supreme. I guess our moods are very opposed in terms of one of them be like, yay, human experience, and the other one, fuck global politics. So yeah, that's a thing. I need to get hype. Get hype right now. Get hype.
Everyone get hype. Get hype.
Yeah, get hype. All right, what are you hype about?
Oh god. So I've been playing a lot of School Days because quarantine.
What? Oh fuck! I don't even know how to be hype about that because it's. Okay.
I thought it'd be fun to
Wow, you're bringing me down again, buddy. Here we go.
I went for the good route.
School Days. It's like two good endings,
I got one
maybe.
Good ending.
Where'd you get?
I forgot their names.
If nobody got murdered, then I guess that's good, but it's not great. Murdered. There's
but someone got
Kotonoha.
deeply hurt.
There's Kotonoha and Seka. Yeah, school days.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
school
went with
days.
Kotonoha.
Uh,
Man, is that really it?
that's one thing you got. Yeah.
There's no good ending?
I mean, there's.
Because even the good ending's not that good.
I mean, there's.
That's the good one.
I feel the harem ending is a good ending because nobody's sad. It's not great because Makoto is a villain, but it could be worse.
I feel like there's no option in that game to actually make it good.
Oh man,
Like,
you could never. Makoto's a villain, and life is hell. So, all you could do is make things as nice as possible for them before they turn into murderers because you ruin their lives anyway. Thanks to summer days. God and Island. Oh, Cross Days. The parallel story with the fucking.
but yeah, it seems like there's no way for Makoto to really
Be a good
happy.
because he's a monster and he doesn't deserve it.
Because even when he goes with Kotoha or the other girl, he's still like, oh, I still hurt Sekai really bad.
Nope.
But Sekai is the one that even like forced
Look,
him.
man,
Like,
it's not great. She fucking
she's
raped
messed
him.
up
It's not
too.
great. It's not great. Look, that's not.
maybe that could be another episode.
That's why I'm like, I can't believe you literally said, like, I got something that's kind of hype, and you go school days, and I'm like, fucking what? Where is this? That's a Manga Palette special episode where we get to do like 4 hours, like V3. We have to call Rashad in again if we're gonna do that, because that's like,
But
man,
I still really like
god damn, oh, school
mean,
days. It's
it.
it's interesting.
All these years.
I will give it
Still
that.
Really good.
It's interesting. Dude, it doesn't matter how old it is. Like, you go back to any one of those summer days, school days, cross days, there's a whole lot of shit there. Kotonoha is the one with the long hair.
Yeah. I know Sekai is like
the one with the short
the
hair.
one that raped him.
The one that rapes him. That's great.
Like that has to
yeah,
happen.
boy.
It's horrible.
I'm like, it's...
Why would you do that,
Yeah.
Sekai? Why would you? I don't.
Why? Yeah, why? But also...
Why would you say?
but
Why don't
also-
you like help? I'll help you practice.
Okay, yeah, but also, Makoto explicitly fucks like 18 people and just... Oh, whatever. And then he fought when he's like his. The thing is, the really fucked up part is you've only seen school days, so you don't have the context of the other ones where it goes like, oh, it turns out Makoto isn't just a guy who like doesn't know how to decide. He's basically his dad. It's like, what's his dad like? And it's like, oh fuck, wait, so it's a lot, man. I don't even know what to say, man. It's too much. You didn't even know about Otome.
No.
You don't even know about Otome. She's like there. You don't actually know her.
Is that guy's turn?
She's the basketball girl.
Yeah, with the ribbon.
It's oh, that shit's rough.
She seems pretty messed up.
Oh boy.
I guess I could say I also seen the Third Strike. They just released a Jazzy Circuit commentary. That was kind of cool.
That's cool.
You get to see all the players.
Cool.
I just went over all the reason why Jazzy Circuit's so important to New York, and like people trying to get better, so they have like a chance to play against the Japanese players.
Okay.
Because they went before as to the Cooperation Cup, which is like the Third Strike Evo, basically.
Yeah.
And they got beat really bad.
That sucks.
Even though they've been playing for like 10 years. But it's like, no, people have been in the lab since like the game
I was gonna say
came out
since
and just never
it
stopped.
was in arcades. That's why you can still find beasts out there, hidden beasts in other countries.
They just never stopped.
They just never stopped. Yeah.
So I just like seeing all that passion for like one game.
Yeah, that is cool. I really do. Like it shows that like if you make something good, the heat will never die. You know, like Third Strike is such a good fucking game that what are we, like 30 years now?
I know it's illegal drinking age.
Yeah, so like
I think it came out in 90. Yeah, like 90.
yeah, so like 30 years and it's still so much fun. I love playing it even now. Like if I had my PS3 with me, hell yeah, I'd be fucking playing Third Strike. It's great. It's so good. Oh
There's
man.
no like bad matchup really.
No, no, there's not. There's nothing that with. There's nothing. There's no way that you can really put yourself in a position where if you're good enough, you can't get out of. I think that's like nearly impossible nowadays when you think about it. So I think that's great about Third Strike. Yeah.
And oh yeah, that's about it. Cause I don't really know Ian McCain, but he seems to be important. The leader to Fugazi, he had an interview with Narward. That's kind of cool.
Cool. Cool. I like Nardwar. Nardwar's great. Fugazi's like, yeah.
He got unconscious before one gig, right before, and then he just went to the gig like nothing happened. That's kind of crazy.
So you don't know the band? You don't know? Okay. So Ian MacKaye is like. It's funny that you bring that up because like Fugazi as a band is like one of the first post-hardcore bands and created the subgenre of post-hardcore. Ian MacKaye was the singer of Minor Threat, and Minor Threat like was like the most fucking hardcore punk could ever be, you know?
Mhm.
And like Fugazi as a band helped create post-hardcore as a genre and moved away from it. Ian MacKaye's other band, Embrace, made emo. Like Ian MacKaye is an important figure in punk history. So yeah, I love Fugazi. Waiting Room is maybe one of the best songs I've ever heard in my fucking life, and it's so simple, but it expresses a lot of confusion and emotion in like 2 minutes. It's interesting that like you're like I've never heard of Ian MacKaye. I'm like he is like a huge figure in punk.
Ah, that's who he is. He keeps a lot of
Yeah.
archives of everything. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's weird how he
He
collects
doesn't-
everything, like
I was
receipts.
gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't trust things. He comes from a time where, where shit was not great. Like hardcore music is populated by people who live in slums and had miserable lives, and he doesn't trust the government because and doesn't trust like authority because that's like a whole part of the DIY scene of punk is you do it yourself. That way you don't have to rely on anybody or can be betrayed by anybody. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole mentality, really. That's why those scenes were like ended up blowing up because they would be like, I don't trust a record company to do it. I'm gonna print it out myself and I'm gonna give it to my dude over there, and my dude's gonna like send it out, and like this dude like it. That's where the fanzines became like a huge part of the culture, and people betrayed, tapes with each other, and like it just became the underground network that evolved in the internet age and helped it become the scene that it was, and have so much space for so many interesting bands. And it created, like I said, the man basically created two genres, emo and post-hardcore, and like it's fucking amazing. With his bands Fugazi and Embrace, and Rites of Spring. God, Rites of Spring is so good. So yeah, like that's interesting. I didn't know he did a new interview with Nardwar. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, he seems pretty interesting.
I mean, the
And I should say
man
he
is
made it
a
two
mythic
genres,
figure.
so I guess he was just down.
Sort of, yeah, kind of. He's a very chill dude. as far as like Ian MacKaye the person goes, like when he sort of invented emo, I think one of my favorite parts about it was that they called it emo core, right? Emotional hardcore.
Mhm.
And like there was an interview, I don't know who it was, but like, he was really fucking mad about that. He's like, emotional hardcore, that's what you're gonna call me, because hardcore doesn't have emotion in it. It's fucking stupid and reductive. Music is art. And it's like, wow, man, that's that's a really interesting stance to take, But yeah, it ended up inventing like emo as a genre. It's not the only one. Like there's a bunch of other bands that were like part of it, but like it's one of the names that like when you look into the history of the music, that's the guy who shows up in a bunch of places because he's had so many fucking bands. Minor Threat's entire discography is on one CD. If you like hardcore punk, you should check it out. I like Waiting Room by Fugazi, and just Rites of Spring's self-titled album is really good. Interesting that you brought up music, because my hype thing is also music related.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. I love Visual K. You know this, correct?
I know.
Anybody who knows me
yes.
knows this.
Yep.
You hear me talk about it. There's this band. Their name is Astrid Crown. They have a lot of... They have a very interesting direction that they've been going to. They've been pushing a lot more oshareke kind of stuff, which is like the the stuff that I that was like way more popular when I was a kid. That's like LMC and On Cafe, the really bright, colorful pop punk kind of music. And they recently dropped a music video on their official YouTube channel like 2 3 days ago. That is so oshareke, it's insane, and it makes me feel like they're trying to bring it back. And it's not to say that they've never been like colorful and bright. They're a lot like the Raid. The Raid has been getting together since 2011, and like, but they're generally a lot smaller as far as bands go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this push that they also changed their name from Astrid Crown to Asti, and it feels like they're going for a straight up more oshareke kind of feel and vibe, and I think that's like really fucking cool and interesting as far as like, because like it's getting to the point where like, because we're in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
The early 2000s, the aughts, as some people have been calling it, have started to become considered like old school and retro, and some of that stuff is starting to come back in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like Oshareke was blowing up in like 2003, 2004. So it seems like this kind of like weirdly nostalgic point of view for Oshareke and the early 2000s at pop punk like that is kind of starting to take kind of a foothold, and I'm interested to see if that's even going to be a thing, because as like watered down and simplified as it is, it's still really a really interesting wave for that kind of stuff, because it was the most marketable I think it's ever been, you know. So I kind of, especially since Visual K in the early 10s and moving forward became a lot more underground again, thanks to the proliferation of Korean pop musicians and stuff like that are much more like R&B and rap influenced. I'm kind of interested to see if this weird resurgence of Oshareke is going to go somewhere or anything. I kind of want to see what it means for Visual K as a medium. So yeah, that's the thing. I'll send you the video link, because it's, when you see it, it's like so colorful and fucking weirdly cutesy. It if you remember any of that shit like LMC or On Cafe, you see it immediately. So yeah, Asti, or as they used to be known, Astrid Crown.
Okay. The revival.
Were you gonna say something?
I said okay. The revival of
Yeah, the revival of Oshareke.
Katsuzake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we'll get old when we're like, when the thing gets dead again and then it revives again. That'll be like another 20 years.
I've been hoping to post-punk. It's what's happening to the, a bunch of shit. Like 10 years ago, right? Like 80s was in vogue. Like everything was kind of 80s inspired. Seems like stuff moved on to the 90s, and like Visual K has already started bringing back Oshareke, which is like late 90s, early 2000s, and I'm anxious to see where it goes. You know, like, there's a lot of bands that were also bringing back new metal. With new metal, like Korn and shit, was again late 90s, early 2000s. So you know, it feels like this is the new wave of fucking resurgence of like, oh man, remember Tamagotchi? And I'm like, you know, that kind of shit. I kind of want to see where it goes. It's weird that the music is reflecting it too, but I'm excited. So yeah, I'm hype. All right, guess that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. So this has been Manga Palate. Thank you for listening. If you guys are still here, you guys get it.
Yeah, you guys get it.
Yeah, you guys get it. Bye.